Good evening. Pamela Ling's husband was arrested this morning to facilitate investigations. A DAP MP has hit back at Wong Chen over his remarks about money politics during the election period for DAP and PKR. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has shared Russian President Vladimir Putin's response on the investigation into the downing of MH17. Stay tuned for more on Kini News. Police arrested the husband of Pamela Ling, who was abducted while on her way to facilitate an MACC investigation on April 9th. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Rusdi Issa confirmed that they had arrested him in Kuala Lumpur this morning. According to NST, he told the media that the husband was arrested to facilitate their investigation. He added that police applied for a remand order against the man at the Putrajaya court, but it was denied. However, he did not elaborate on why the remand order was denied. He was quoted as saying that the suspect has yet to be released on bail and further investigations are ongoing. On May 2nd, Ling's family revealed that the 42-year-old was on her way to meet MACC investigators where she was supposed to facilitate a money laundering investigation, but was abducted before she could reach her destination. Inspector General of Police Razaruddin Hussain had previously said that his team is investigating the possibility of Ling's husband being involved in her abduction. DAP lawmaker Wong Shu Chi has taken aim at PKR's Wong Chen for dragging her party into his critique of money politics. This was after he lamented how former opposition parties are now hosting events in hotels. In a post on Facebook, she said DAP's National Congress on March 16th was held at the Ideal Convention Center in Shah Alam, which is not exactly the Ritz. She added that unless there's a new 5-star rating for convention centers she is unaware of, then she is not sure where the hotel event claim come from. She said unlike the times that may be changing, some things remain the same in DAP and their elected representatives still contribute 15% of their monthly allowance to the party. Wong added that this is how they keep the lights on at the HQ. It's just old school commitment. Referencing the upcoming PKR Central Leadership elections, Shu Chi conceded that polls tend to raise the temperature but cautioned against aiming the fire extinguisher at neighbors when the kitchen gets hot. She said the elections are intense, but as friends in the same coalition, they would prefer not to be caught in friendly fire when they are just minding their own business. Yesterday, Malaysia Kini quoted Chen lamenting that former opposition parties, now in government, seem to have lost their roots and succumbed to money politics. He said a rotten political culture has emerged and money politics has surfaced as seen during the election period for DAP and PKR. Rafizi Ramli has expressed willingness to engage in a public debate with Nurul Izzah Anwar. This is to defuse tensions in the increasingly heated race for PKR's deputy presidency. Speaking at his campaign event in Pahang last night, he suggested that a formal debate moderated by an independent organizer could help lower temperatures between supporters.
Jadi, daripada kami duk cakap dekat sini, cakap dengan penyokong kami, Izzah duk cakap dengan penyokong dia, dia cakap kita tak tahu, kita cakap dia tahulah sebab kita siap kan. Ada orang mencadangkan supaya mudah macam inilah. Kita parti reformasi. Kita bawa budaya politik baru. Maka caranya ialah jom kita debat. Boleh saudara-saudari? Jadi kita ni parti lawan, tetap lawan, menang kalah belakang kira, debat mesti kena.
Rafizi said this would be the best way as in the party there are many people who are more eager than sensible. He added that the leadership is fine, but those below are fighting every day. He said that if the event proceeds smoothly and in a positive atmosphere, the party's selection process could help attract public and voter interest, while also boosting efforts to retain Anwar Ibrahim as Prime Minister for the next term. Meanwhile, when asked about the idea, Nurul Izzah appeared to sidestep the question. She said they want to ease tensions because the priority is to engage with the delegates. Nurul added that in her case, she has programs with women and the youth, so she would prefer if they didn't focus solely on politics. She stressed that it's not about politicking per se, it's about meaningful engagement with all the divisions. Russian President Vladimir Putin has called for a thorough, comprehensive and non-politicized investigation into the downing of MH17. This is according to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. In a video posted on his Facebook page, Anwar said Putin had, from the very beginning, insisted that the investigations must be independent and meticulous.
Kata dia telah daripada awal memohon supaya kajian itu harus bebas dan teliti. Pihak Rusia bersedia untuk berikan semua kerjasama untuk memastikan laporan itu lebih kredibel atau wibawa. Setakat itu penjelasan yang diberikan, saya tentunya sampaikan kepada keluarga. Cuma yang saya dapat pastikan bahawa dia kata tidak benar kalau dia tidak sedia bekerjasama. Tapi dia tidak mampu bekerjasama pada mana-mana badan yang dia anggap atau Rusia anggap sebagai tidak bebas. Setakat itu saya telah bangkitkan kerana kebetulan saya di sini dan saya merupakan wakil negara pertama yang menemui Presiden Putin setelah laporan itu dikeluarkan.
On Tuesday, Reuters reported that the Australian and Dutch governments have each issued separate statements that the International Civil Aviation Organization (ICAO) Council had ruled that Russia is responsible for shooting down MH17. It added that it will consider appropriate reparations in the coming weeks. Russia has consistently denied involvement and has rejected the ICAO ruling as biased. Will the upcoming Malay Muslim rally be different from those held in the past? As a coalition of Malay and Islamic NGOs gear up for the May 24th protest in Kuala Lumpur, a former minister has stepped forward with some suggestions. Former Law Minister Zaid Ibrahim has called for a clear agenda for the upcoming Malay Muslim rally. This is to prevent it from turning into an embarrassing display of whining and complaining about alleged threats to race and religion. He said it must instead be a forceful message of change to realize the full potential of the country, a country free of mafia operators and where law and order rule. In a post on X, he said that Malay dignity can only be restored by an honest examination of the hypocrisy of our leaders and a willingness to embrace new values of leadership. Zaid added that in order for the movement to be meaningful, the Malays need to be united in voting for the right political parties, just as the Chinese are united. He emphasized that the Malay-led political parties need credible leaders who can assure the multiracial population that the new government will be fair to all races and keep them safe. Among others, Zaid said they need to dismantle the power of the Prime Minister to the extent necessary to give real effect to the interests of the Rakyat. A coalition of Malay and Islamic NGOs will be holding the rally in Kuala Lumpur on May 24th to protest what they describe as the government's failure to uphold the interests of Malay Muslims in Malaysia. Coalition Secretariat Chairperson Syed Hassan Syed Ali said that around 700 Malay Islamic NGOs have already confirmed their participation. If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe. Russian President Vladimir Putin recounted a light-hearted moment with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim during a private tour of the Kremlin Palace. At a press conference after the tour, Putin shared Anwar's remarks which drew laughter from senior Russian and Malaysian officials, as well as journalists. Putin shared that he had shown Anwar the Grand St. Andrew's Hall and pointed out 3 thrones meant for the Tsar, the Tsarina, and a third unlabeled seat. Let's take a look at what happened next.
I have just told Mr. Prime Minister what St. Andrew's Hall is. There are 3 thrones there, and I asked Prime Minister, so there are 3 thrones. One of them is for the Tsar, the second one is for his wife, and what do you think, the 3rd throne, what is it for? Who is it for? And without even thinking, Prime Minister said for the second wife. I hope he is not angry at me for saying these things, but this is an answer of a true Muslim, of a true representative of Islamic culture. I have to say that our traditional values maybe are not the same, but the exchange of information is always useful for both parties. Thank you very much.
I have to respond. I only have one wife, Mr. President.
Several incidents involving students vaping, including at a surau, have gone viral, sparking concern among the public. Following this, the Health Ministry has formed a task force to tackle vape abuse among teenagers. Under the Smoking Products Control for Public Health Act 2024, it is prohibited to sell and smoke vape products to consumers under 18 years old. Yesterday, Kini TV posted a poll to ask you guys what measures should the government take to tackle this issue. Let's see the responses. A majority of the voters agreed with a complete banning of vape in Malaysia. Others said the root cause of why students are vaping in the first place should be looked at. Meanwhile, 9% of voters said vape sales should be allowed, but there should be stricter nicotine regulations. Implementing health education for kindergartners was also mentioned. What are your thoughts on this? Share your views in the comment section below. Next, let's take a look at some of the other headlines from today. That is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.